5 million Instagram followers. Face on billboards in 23 countries. Coffee with Rihanna. Adiz Okafor was known everywhere, until she met the one man in Seoul who looked at her and saw nothing. Kang Min-jae, Korea's most sought-after photographer, has a secret. He literally cannot recognize faces. She said, "Do you know who I am?" He said, "Should I?" and walked away. The most visible woman on earth was finally invisible. And the photographer who captures souls couldn't remember what she looked like. Every morning he falls in love with her for the first time. Every night she learns that being known is better than being seen. But when you build your life on performance, can authenticity ever be real? When footage surfaces of her invisible period, the internet erupts. Was her whole journey just another brand strategy? Was even her love story content? He can't remember her face, but he knows her soul. Or does he? Can you love someone who forgets what you look like every single day? Can you be real when 5 million people are watching? Stay till the end for the revelation that changes everything. Welcome to Afro-K Dark Diaries. Comment below. Would you give up fame to be truly known? This is The Invisible Woman. Like, if you believe love sees beyond sight. Subscribe because this love story will haunt you. Let's begin. The Shilla Hotel in Seoul was chaos. Adiz Okafor stood in the marble lobby, surrounded by at least 30 people who had recognized her the moment she walked through the revolving doors. Phones were out, cameras flashing, people calling her name like she was oxygen and they'd been drowning. This was her life. Adiz, can we take a photo? Oh my God, I follow you on Instagram. Adiz, what makeup are you wearing? Your skin is glowing. Is that the new Chanel bag? She smiled. The smile that had been liked 42 million times across social media. The smile she'd perfected in front of mirrors until it looked effortless. Warm but not too eager. Confident but not arrogant. Accessible but still aspirational. Of course, darling, she said to a trembling teenager holding up her phone. Let's take that photo. She posed. The girl's hands shook so badly the first 3 photos were blurred. Breathe, sweetie, Adiz said gently. I'm just a person. But she wasn't. Not really. Not anymore. At 27 years old, Adiz Okafor was one of the most successful digital creators to come out of Africa. Her Instagram account at Adiz Glows had 5 million followers. Her TikTok had 8 million. Her YouTube channel had subscribers in 73 countries. She'd built an empire on being seen. Brand deals with Dior, Fenty, Louis Vuitton. She'd been flown first class to Paris Fashion Week, sat front row at runway shows, been photographed next to Naomi Campbell. She'd had coffee with Rihanna. Actual coffee, not just a photo op, though she'd posted that photo and it had gotten 2.3 million likes. Being recognized everywhere she went wasn't an inconvenience. It was proof. Proof that she mattered. Proof that she existed. Proof that little Adiz from Enugu, Nigeria, who'd been invisible her whole childhood, average grades, average looks, nothing special, had become somebody. Her phone buzzed in her hand. She glanced down while still smiling for photos. At Adiz Glows. Seoul is stunning. Who else is in Korea right now? South Korea sparkles. Posted 3 minutes ago, 2.3 million likes, 47,293 comments. She scrolled through comments while a young man stammered his way through asking for a selfie. Queen. You're literally perfect. What hotel are you staying at? I'm in Seoul too. Your skin is unreal. Drop the skincare routine. Adiz's assistant G1 appeared at her elbow. Miss Okafor, your 2 p.m. appointment is in 15 minutes. I know. Adiz finished signing an autograph. She'd learned to do her signature while maintaining eye contact with her phone camera. Multitasking was survival. Just a few more. Someone bumped into her from behind. Heart. The iced vanilla latte in her hand went flying, splashing down the front of her white Zimmermann dress. The one that cost $3,000, the one she was supposed to wear to a brand dinner tonight. The one that was now soaked in coffee and completely ruined. Adiz gasped. The crowd around her gasped. Phones immediately started recording. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. The voice was male, deep, speaking English with a Korean accent. Adiz spun around, ready to graciously accept the apology. This would make great content. She was already thinking of the caption. Even spillage looks good on me. Face with tears of joy, hot beverage. When she looked up at the man who'd bumped into her. He was tall. sharp jawline, intense dark eyes, black hair falling across his forehead in that casually perfect way that Korean men always seem to achieve. He wore a simple black t-shirt and jeans, expensive camera bag slung across his body. He was objectively one of the most attractive men she'd seen in months. And he was looking at her with irritation. "You should watch where you're standing," he said, dabbing at his own shirt with a napkin. Coffee had splashed on him too. "The walkway is narrow here. You were blocking the exit with your..." He gestured vaguely at the crowd surrounding her. "Entourage." Adiz blinked. The crowd went silent. "I should watch where I'm standing?" Adiz repeated slowly. "Yes. You were stopped in the middle of a high-traffic area." He said it matter-of-factly, like he was explaining something obvious to a child. "Do you..." Adiz stopped herself. She could hear phones recording. This was going to be everywhere in an hour. She needed to handle this perfectly. "Do you know who I am?" The man looked at her. Really looked at her, his eyes scanning her face with the intensity of someone trying to memorize features. "Should I?" he asked. The crowd gasped. Someone whispered loudly in Korean, "Does he not know who Adiz Okafor is?" Another voice, "Is he serious right now?" Adiz felt something she hadn't felt in 5 years. Genuine shock. Complete, authentic surprise that had nothing to do with performance or content strategy. I have 5 million Instagram followers," she said. It came out sounding defensive, which wasn't the tone she wanted, but her brain was malfunctioning. "I don't use Instagram." He handed her a napkin. "Here. For your dress. I apologize for the coffee. Send me the dry cleaning bill if needed." He pulled a card from his wallet and held it out. Adiz took it automatically, still staring at him. "You really don't recognize me," she said. "No. Should I clean your dress, or are you going to keep blocking the exit?" He said it without malice, just practical impatience. Then he walked past her, camera bag swinging, and disappeared through the hotel's revolving doors without looking back. Adiz stood frozen in the middle of the Shilla Hotel lobby, coffee dripping down her $3,000 dress, surrounded by 30 people filming her first public rejection in 5 years. Her phone started buzzing. And buzzing. And buzzing. Adiz made it to her hotel suite before checking social media. Big mistake. The video was everywhere. At Korean drama news, Adiz Okafor rejected? Mystery man spills coffee and doesn't recognize Africa's biggest influencer. Face screaming fear. 5 million views in 2 hours. At Seoul Gossip, who is the man who said "should I?" to Adiz? We need answers. Retweets. 234K. At Influencer, Adiz looked shook. I've never seen her off script like this. Iconic TV. 872K likes. Adiz sat on her bed, still in her coffee-stained dress, watching the clip replay on her phone. There she was saying, "Do you know who I am?" like some entitled celebrity in a viral meltdown video. And there he was, completely unbothered, asking "should I?" before walking away. The comments were split. The audacity of this man. Honestly, I love that he treated her like a normal person. Her face when he said "should I" will haunt me forever. Somebody please find this man. He's actually kinda hot though. 5 million followers and he didn't even blink. King behavior. Adiz felt something she couldn't quite name. Embarrassment? No, she'd been embarrassed before and knew how to spin it. This was different. This was unsettling. For 5 years she'd been recognized everywhere. Restaurants, airports, grocery stores, bathroom lines. Her face was her power. Her visibility was her currency. And this man had looked right at her and seen nothing. Her phone rang. Temi, her manager and best friend from university. "Babe, are you okay?" Temi's voice was concerned but also excited, in that way managers get when disaster becomes opportunity. "I just saw the video. It's everywhere." "I'm fine. It's just coffee." "I'm not talking about the coffee. I'm talking about your face. You looked completely thrown off. I don't think I've ever seen you lose control of a moment like that." Adiz bristled. "I didn't lose control." "Babe, you asked, do you know who I am?" On camera. That's the villain line in every viral meltdown video. He was rude. He was indifferent. There's a difference. Temi paused. "And honestly, the internet is eating this up. Your engagement is up 300% in 2 hours." People are obsessed with finding out who Coffee Spill Man is. They gave him a name? Honey, they're making memes. There's already a Twitter account called @manwhosaidshouldI. It has 50,000 followers. Adiz groaned and fell back on the bed. Look, Temi continued, this is actually perfect. We need to find him. Get a follow-up video. Make it a thing. The only man in Seoul who doesn't know Adiz. It's relatable, it's funny, it's content gold. I'm not doing that. Why not? Because. Adiz looked at the business card still clutched in her hand. Kang Min-jae photographer. A phone number. An address in Samcheong-dong. Because I don't want to. Since when do you turn down viral content? Since a man looked at me like I was nobody and I didn't hate it, Adiz thought but didn't say. I need to think, she said instead. I'll call you back. She hung up before Temi could protest. Adiz sat in her hotel suite, the sounds of Seoul traffic filtering through the windows, and stared at the business card. Kang Min-jae, photographer. She pulled out her laptop and searched his name. Google search. Kang Min-jae photographer Seoul. The results loaded slowly like the internet was building suspense. First result. A portfolio website. Minimalist design, black background, white text. Kang Min-jae /portrait photographer /Seoul. Adiz clicked. The photographs loaded one by one and her breath caught. They were stunning. Black and white portraits mostly. Close-ups of faces. Elderly women with features like maps, children caught mid-laugh, dancers frozen in impossible positions, businessmen in rare moments of vulnerability. But what struck Adiz wasn't the technical skill, though that was obvious. It was the intimacy. Every subject looked seen. Not just photographed but understood. Like the photographer had captured something beyond appearance, something essential and true. She scrolled through dozens of images. Each one felt like a secret being shared. There were no photos of him. No social media links. Just an email for inquiries and an address for his gallery in Samcheong-dong. Adiz opened a new tab and searched. Kang Min-jae photographer background. A few articles came up. Rising star in Korean portrait photography, Vogue Korea 2023, the photographer who sees souls. Seoul Arts magazine Kang Min-jae's Faces of Seoul exhibition sells out, Korean Herald. She clicked the Vogue article. Kang Min-jae, 32, is one of Korea's most sought-after portrait photographers, known for his ability to capture authentic moments in an age of filtered perfection. His subjects range from celebrities to homeless individuals, all photographed with the same level of dignity and attention. I'm interested in what's beneath the surface, Kang said in a rare interview. Faces are just masks. I want to photograph the person behind the mask. When asked about his absence from social media, Kang laughed. I photograph reality. Social media is performance. They're incompatible. The article included one photo of him, black and white, shot from the side so you only saw his profile. Sharp features, intense expression, completely closed off to the camera even while being photographed. Adiz stared at that profile for a long time. I photograph reality. Social media is performance. Was that why he hadn't recognized her? Because her entire existence was performance, and he was trained to look past performance to truth? Or did he just not pay attention to social media? She looked at his gallery address again. Samcheong-dong. A 20-minute drive from her hotel. Adiz stood up, still in her coffee-stained dress, and made a decision. Besties, drop a comment right now. Has anyone ever made you feel invisible when you were trying to be seen? Because Adiz just met the one person immune to her fame, and instead of being insulted, I think she's intrigued. Comment find him if you want her to go to that gallery. Comment move on if you think she should let it go. Let's see what happens next. The next morning, Adiz stood outside Kang Min-jae's gallery in Samcheong-dong, questioning every decision that had led her here. She dressed down. Black jeans, simple white t-shirt, baseball cap, sunglasses, no jewelry. She looked like a normal person. It felt like wearing a disguise. The gallery was small and elegant, tucked between a traditional tea house and a modern bookshop. The windows displayed large black and white portraits. A simple sign, Kang Min-jae Photography. Adiz took a breath and pushed open the door. A bell chimed softly. Inside, the gallery was quiet and cool. White walls, polished concrete floors, photographs hung with plenty of space between them. Each image commanded attention without competing. A young woman sat at a minimalist desk near the entrance. She looked up and smiled. "Welcome. Are you here for the exhibition?" "Yes." Is the photographer here today?" "Minja Sai is in the back studio. Would you like me to let him know you're—" "No, that's okay. I'll just look around first." The woman nodded and returned to her computer. Adiz walked slowly through the gallery, studying each photograph. An elderly woman laughing, her face a roadmap of wrinkles, pure joy radiating from the image. A young boy covered in dirt holding a soccer ball, looking at the camera with fierce pride. A businessman in a suit, tie loosened, sitting on a curb with his head in his hands, vulnerability captured without exploitation. A dancer mid-leap, face twisted in effort and ecstasy. Each photograph felt like a novel. A whole life contained in a single frame. Adiz stopped in front of a portrait of a woman around her age. She wore no makeup, hair pulled back, staring directly at the camera with an expression that was equal parts defiant and terrified. The placard beneath read, "Subject unknown/fear of being known." Adiz stared at that title for a long time. Fear of being known. Wasn't that the opposite of what she did? She demanded to be known. 5 million followers knowing her every move, every outfit, every meal, every thought she chose to share. Except, did they know her? Or did they know the performance? That's one of my favorites. Adiz spun around. Kang Min-jae stood a few feet away, wiping his hands on a cloth. He wore the same black t-shirt and jeans from yesterday, or maybe a different set of the same uniform. His eyes were focused somewhere around her shoulder, not quite meeting her gaze. Adiz started, then stopped. She was still wearing sunglasses. She pulled them off. "Hi." He looked at her face. Studied it with that same intense focus from yesterday, like he was trying to solve a puzzle. "Yes," he said politely. "Can I help you?" Adiz felt something drop in her stomach. He didn't recognize her. We met yesterday," she said carefully. "At the Shilla Hotel. You spilled coffee on me." His expression shifted, confusion, then concentration, then something like embarrassment. "I did. I apologize. I spill coffee on many people. It's an occupational hazard when you're always carrying camera equipment." He smiled slightly, self-deprecating. "Do I owe you money for dry cleaning?" "No, I just—" Adiz trailed off. What was she doing here? "I wanted to see your work." "Well, you're in the right place." He gestured at the gallery. "Feel free to look around. Let me know if you have questions." He started to turn away. "Wait," Adiz said quickly. Do you really not recognize me?" He turned back, and this time his eyes met hers fully. Dark, intense, slightly puzzled. "Should I?" he asked. There was again that question. "I'm Adiz Okafor. I'm an influencer. I have 5 million Instagram followers. I don't use Instagram. I've been on magazine covers in 23 countries. I don't read magazines, just photography journals." He said it matter-of-factly, no judgment, just fact. "I had coffee with Rihanna." He tilted his head. "Who?" Adiz laughed. She couldn't help it. "You're kidding." "I'm not. I assume she's famous? In music." He looked genuinely curious now, like he was trying to piece together context clues. Never mind." Adiz shook her head, still smiling. "Your work is beautiful." "Thank you." He looked pleased at that, a real smile softening his features. "What draws you to it?" "The way you see people. Like you're photographing something beneath the surface. That's the goal." He moved to stand beside her, looking at the photograph she'd been studying. Faces lie. Bodies lie. But there's always a moment, usually when someone forgets they're being photographed, when the truth shows through. "Is that what you did with her?" Adiz pointed at the fear of being known portrait. "Yes. She came to me wanting glamour shots for her modeling portfolio. Very posed, very perfected. But during a break, when she thought I wasn't looking, she had this expression." He gestured at the photo. "Like she was terrified someone might see who she really was beneath the polish." "Did she let you publish it?" "Eventually. After she saw it and cried for 20 minutes. His voice softened. She said it was the first time anyone had seen her in years. Adiz felt something tighten in her chest. "Mr. Kang. Min-jae. Please. Min-jae." The name felt intimate in her mouth. Would you photograph me? He looked at her again, that intense study of her face. Not recognition, she realized now. Memorization. Like he was trying to file her features away. Why? He asked. Because you don't know who I am. And I want to be photographed by someone who'll see me, not my brand. Something shifted in his expression. Interest maybe. Or challenge. Can you be still? He asked. What? My subjects sit for 2 to 3 hours. No phone. No checking yourself in the mirror. No performing. Can you be still? Adise thought about the last time she'd sat for 3 hours without her phone. She genuinely couldn't remember. Yes, she said. You're lying. But he smiled. How about this, we'll try 1 hour. If you can't handle it, we stop. If you can, we continue. Deal. Deal. Tomorrow. 2 p.m. Don't be late. He pulled out a card, the same one from yesterday. Studio address is on here. Adise took it. Their fingers brushed briefly and she felt an unexpected spark. I'm Adise, by the way. Adise Okafor. Nice to meet you, Adise Okafor. He said her name like he was memorizing it too. I'm Minjae. Kang Minjae. I know. It's on your card. Right. He looked almost shy for a moment. I'll see you tomorrow then. Tomorrow. Adise left the gallery, stepping back into Seoul's afternoon heat, and realized she was smiling. Not her Instagram smile. A real one. Adise showed up at Minjae's studio at 1:45 p.m. She changed outfits 7 times. Started with her usual influencer uniform. Designer everything, perfect accessories, camera-ready makeup. Then she'd looked at herself in the mirror and heard his voice. Faces lie. She'd stripped it all off and started over. Black turtleneck. Dark jeans. No jewelry. Minimal makeup. Just enough to feel like herself, not enough to feel like a product. Hair pulled back in a simple bun. She looked normal. It felt terrifying. The studio was on the 3rd floor of an old building, all exposed brick and enormous windows flooding the space with natural light. Photography equipment was scattered around, but carefully organized chaos. Minjae stood by the windows adjusting a light reflector. He turned when she entered. You're early, he said. I didn't want to be late. Good. He looked at her, that same intense study. You look different from yesterday. Different how? Less armored. He gestured to a simple wooden stool in the center of the room. Sit. Adise sat. Minjae circled her slowly, examining her from different angles. Not in a creepy way, in a professional way, like a sculptor studying marble. You have an interesting face, he said finally. Thank you. I didn't mean it as a compliment. Just an observation. He picked up his camera. Your face is very constructed. Adise frowned. Constructed. Controlled. Like you've practiced expressions until they're perfect. Your smile, the way you tilt your head, even your casual look. It's all choreographed. I'm a content creator. That's literally my job. I know. That's why your face is uninteresting in repose. Adise felt stung. Uninteresting. In stillness, he clarified. When you think no one's watching, what does your face do? I don't understand the question. Exactly. He raised the camera. That's what we're here to find out. He started shooting. Look at me, he instructed. Adise looked at him. No, not your camera face. Your real face. Like I'm not here. How am I supposed to look at you like you're not here when you're right there? Good question. Let's start with something easier. He lowered the camera. Tell me about your childhood. What? Why? Because I want to see your face when you're not performing. Talk to me about something real. Adise shifted on the stool. My childhood was normal. Middle-class family in Enugu. Parents were teachers. I have 2 younger brothers. Were you close to them? By brothers, I guess. We fought like all siblings. Were you popular in school? No. The word came out harder than she intended. I was invisible. Invisible how? Just average. Average grades, average looks, average everything. I wasn't bullied, but I wasn't noticed either. I was just there. She looked at him. Did you just take my photo? Yes. Keep talking. That's not fair. I wasn't ready. That's the point. When were you noticed? When did you stop being invisible? Adiz was quiet for a moment. University. I started a fashion blog. Posted outfit photos. At first it was just me and my roommate Temi taking pictures in our dorm. But then people started following. Commenting. Sharing. How did that feel? Like I finally existed. Stop taking pictures when I'm not ready. You're always ready when you know the camera is there. I need you when you forget. Min-jae moved closer. Why did existing require an audience? Because. Adiz trailed off, frustrated. This was supposed to be a photo shoot, not therapy. Because if no one sees you, how do you know you're real? The question hung in the air. Min-jae lowered his camera and for the first time he looked at her with something like recognition. Not of her face but of something deeper. That's the saddest thing I've ever heard, he said quietly. Adiz felt heat rising in her chest. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. You've built an entire identity on being seen. But has anyone actually looked? 5 million people look at me every day. They look at your images. That's not the same thing. Then what's the difference? He was getting angry now, defensive. The difference is this. He raised the camera again. Right now you're angry. Your face is flushed, your jaw is tight, your eyes are bright with emotion. This is real. This is you. And it's the first interesting thing your face has done since you sat down. Adiz stared at him. When you post on Instagram, Min-jae continued, still shooting, do you show them this face? The angry one? The frustrated one? The uncertain one? No. Why not? Because that's not what people want to see. Exactly. So they don't see you. They see a performance. He lowered the camera. You asked me to photograph you because I don't know who you are. But I'm starting to think you don't know either. The words hit like a physical blow. Adiz stood up. I think we're done here. We've only been shooting for 20 minutes. I said we're done. She grabbed her bag. Adiz. Thank you for your time, Mr. Kong. She walked out, letting the studio door slam behind her. Min-jae stood alone in his studio, looking at the photos he'd just taken on his camera's display screen. Adiz's face, unguarded, went through a journey. Confusion, defensiveness, anger, hurt, and finally, just before she stood, something that looked like recognition. Like she'd seen something in herself she'd been avoiding. He saved the images and sat down heavily on the stool where she'd been sitting. He'd been too harsh. He knew that. But there was something about her. The way she performed even when she thought she wasn't performing, that had frustrated him. Or maybe it scared him. Because looking at someone who'd built their entire identity on being seen, when he couldn't even recognize faces, it felt like staring into a mirror that reflected everything he couldn't do. His phone rang. Yes. Min-jae sighed. It's Ji-won from the gallery. I have someone here who says she's a journalist from Vogue Korea. She wants to interview you about the woman you photographed yesterday. Min-jae frowned. What woman? The influencer. Adiz Okafor? She was in the gallery yesterday and apparently someone filmed her talking to you and now it's viral and... Tell the journalist I don't do interviews. She says she'll pay. No interviews. Thank you, Ji-won. He hung up and looked at the photos again. Adiz's face, captured in moments of genuine emotion. She'd accused him of not understanding. But he understood better than she knew. Because he spent every day trying to remember faces he'd never be able to recognize. And she spent every day being remembered by people who'd never know her. They were both trapped by faces. Just in opposite ways. Adiz spent 3 days avoiding the internet. While trying to... She posted her usual content. A mirror selfie here, a cafe aesthetic shot there. But she didn't read comments. Didn't check her tags. Didn't look at the soul gossip pages. Because she knew what they'd be saying. Adiz Okafor spotted at unknown photographer's studio coffee spill man is actually famous photographer Kong Min-jae. Are Adiz and Min-jae dating? She wasn't ready to deal with it. Instead she did something she hadn't done in years. She went for a walk without her phone. She left it charging in her hotel room, slipped out before her assistant could catch her, and walked through Seoul like a normal person. Baseball cap. Sunglasses. Oversized hoodie. Anonymous. It was strange. Walking down Gangnam streets without documenting it. Passing cafes without photographing her latte. Seeing beautiful architecture and just looking at it. Not curating it. Not performing it. Just experiencing it. She found herself in Insadong, wandering through art galleries and craft shops. No one recognized her. No one asked for photos. No one called her name. She was invisible. And it was the most peaceful she'd felt in months. She stopped at a small gallery, not Minjae's, and studied the paintings. Abstract works, lots of color, emotions splashed across canvas. Beautiful, isn't it? An elderly woman stood beside her, smiling. Yes, Adiz said. Very. The artist is young. Only 23. But she understands something important. What's that? That art isn't about being seen. It's about being true. The woman gestured at the chaotic painting. She could paint pretty things that sell well. But instead she paints what she feels. Even when it's messy. The woman moved on to another painting, leaving Adiz standing there, staring at the abstract chaos. Art isn't about being seen. It's about being true. She thought about Minjae's words. Has anyone actually looked? 5 million people looked at her every day. But did they see her? Did she even know who her was anymore? That night, Adiz did something she'd never done before. She opened Instagram, went to her profile and scrolled through her posts. Hundreds of photos. Thousands of carefully curated moments. Her in designer clothes. Her at exclusive events. Her with perfect makeup, perfect lighting, perfect everything. She looked successful. Confident. Aspirational. She looked like someone who had it all figured out. She looked like a stranger. Adiz closed Instagram and opened her camera roll. Scrolled past all the edited, filtered, perfect photos to the very bottom. Photos from before. Before the followers, before the brand deals, before she became Adiz Glows. Pictures from university. Her and Temi in their dorm room, no makeup, eating instant noodles. A photo of her laughing at something off camera, mouth wide open, completely ungraceful. A selfie taken at 3 a.m. during exam week, looking exhausted and stressed and real. Cloaked, happier, less polished, less perfect, less seen by millions, but maybe more seen by the people who mattered. Her phone buzzed. A text from Temi. Temi, babe, I know you're avoiding the internet, but you need to see this. A link followed. Adiz hesitated, then clicked it. It was an article from a Korean entertainment blog. Who is Adiz Okafor really? Photographer Kang Min-jae's brutal honesty goes viral. Below the headline was a grainy photo. Someone had filmed through the studio windows. You could see her and Min-jae inside, her face angry, him holding his camera. The article quoted anonymous sources, saying Min-jae had told her she was uninteresting and performative. The comments section was chaos. He's not wrong though, finally someone said it, all influencers are fake. This is so sad. She's having an identity crisis. I actually feel bad for her. Min-jae is savage and I love it. Adiz felt sick. Her phone rang. Temi. Don't read the comments, Temi said immediately. I know you already read them, but stop. They're calling me fake. They've always called you fake, babe. That's what people do to successful women. But what if they're right? Adiz's voice cracked. What if I've been performing so long that there's nothing real left? Temi was quiet for a moment. Is that what the photographer said? More or less. And that bothered you because? Because, Adiz stopped. Why did it bother her so much? She'd been criticized before. Had hate comments, negative articles, people calling her fake and shallow and vapid. She'd developed thick skin. But Min-jae's words had cut through every defense she'd built. Because he's right, Adiz admitted quietly. I don't know who I am without the camera anymore. Then maybe it's time to find out, Temi said gently. 3 days later, Adiz walked back into Min-jae's gallery. Jiwon looked up from her desk, eyes widening. Miss Okafor. We didn't expect. Is Min-jae here? He's in the studio, but... Adiz walked past the desk before Jiwon could finish. He found him in the back organizing prints. He looked up when she entered and she watched him go through that process again. Looking at her face, trying to place her, searching for context. Adiz, he said finally, her name the T that unlocked recognition. I wasn't expecting you. I know. Can we talk? Of course. He set down the prints, giving her his full attention. Adiz took a breath. You were right. About what? About me. About the performing. About. She gestured vaguely. All of it. Min-jae studied her carefully. I was harsh. I apologize for that. No, I needed to hear it. I've been thinking about what you said. About being seen versus being looked at. She moved closer. I want to try again. Try what? The shoot. But different this time. She met his eyes. I want you to photograph me the way you photographed that woman. The fear of being known, one. That requires vulnerability. I know. In time. It might take several sessions. I have time. And you'll have to be honest. Even when it's uncomfortable. I'm ready to try. Min-jae looked at her for a long moment, and Adiz had the strange feeling that even though he couldn't remember her face, he could see right through her anyway. Okay, he said finally. But we do this my way. No posting about the sessions. No documenting the process. What happens in this studio stays private until we're done. Agreed. And you'll have to trust me. Even when you hate the photos I take. I trust you. Why? The question caught her off guard. What? Why do you trust me? We barely know each other. I insulted you. I made you angry. Why come back? Adiz considered the question seriously. Because you're the first person in 5 years who's looked at me and not seen what they expected to see. You're not impressed by my followers or my fame or my brand. Just see me. Even if you can't remember my face. Something shifted in Min-jae's expression. Softness maybe or understanding. He said. Let's start over. Tomorrow 2 p.m. I'll be here. And Adiz. He smiled slightly. Wear whatever makes you feel most like yourself. Not your brand. You. What if I don't know what that is anymore? Then we'll find out together. The first real session was quiet. Adiz showed up in jeans and an old university hoodie. The one she used to wear during all-nighters. The one that was worn soft and comfortable. The one that smelled like fabric softener and memories. Min-jae didn't comment on her outfit. He just gestured to the stool and picked up his camera. Today we're just sitting, he said. No talking. No performing. Just existing in the same space. For how long? As long as it takes. So they sat. While Adiz sat. Min-jae moved around her with his camera, occasionally clicking the shutter but mostly just observing. The first 10 minutes were excruciating. Adiz's hands fidgeted. Her face felt naked without makeup. She kept wanting to check her phone to do something to fill the silence and stillness with productivity. But she didn't. By 20 minutes her body started to relax. By 45 minutes she'd forgotten to perform. By an hour she was just breathing. Being. Existing without documentation. She looked up at Min-jae. He lowered his camera and smiled. There, he said softly. That's the face. What face? The one that's just yours. The second session was harder. Tell me about the first time you felt invisible, Min-jae said. Adiz shifted on the stool. I told you. I was invisible my whole childhood. No. I mean a specific moment. When you realized no one was seeing you. She was quiet for a long time. Min-jae didn't push. Just waited, camera ready. I was 14, Adiz said finally. There was a school assembly about student achievements. They called up all these kids who'd won awards, made the honor roll, had perfect attendance. Everyone was clapping and taking photos. I was sitting in the audience watching. And I remember thinking, no one will ever call my name. I'm not smart enough or athletic enough or special enough. I'm just here, taking up space, but not really mattering. And then I went home and cried in my room. And no one noticed that either. Her voice had gotten small. Vulnerable. Young. After that, Adiz continued, I became obsessed with being noticed. I studied harder, joined clubs, volunteered for everything. But it was never enough. I was still just average. Until Instagram. She looked at him. Suddenly people wanted to see me. Not because I was special, but because I learned how to be pretty in the right way. How to take photos that made people feel things. How to be aspirational. And that felt like mattering? That felt like existing. Min-jae lowered his camera. Can I tell you something? Of course. You matter whether anyone sees you or not. Adiz felt tears prick her eyes. That's easy for you to say. Is it? I can't remember faces. Do you know what that's like? meeting someone, having a meaningful conversation, and then the next day they say hello and I have no idea who they are. He sat down across from her. I've hurt people, lost friends, missed opportunities, all because my brain can't do what everyone else's does automatically. I'm sorry. I didn't mean. My point is, he interrupted gently, I had to learn that my worth isn't in how I'm perceived. Because I can't control that. I can't remember people, so I have to trust that who I am matters more than whether I remember faces. That's different. Is it? You're so afraid of being invisible that you've made yourself into a product. I'm so unable to remember faces that I've made peace with being forgotten. We're both trapped by the same thing. What's that? Faces. You worship yours. I can't remember anyone's. But neither of us is free. Adiz stared at him. How do you get free? I'm still figuring that out. But I think it starts with mattering to yourself first. The third session was when everything shifted. I want to try something different today, Min-jae said. No camera for the first hour. Just talking. About what? About who you are when no one's watching. They sat on the floor of his studio, backs against the wall, afternoon sun streaming through the windows. I don't know who that person is anymore, Adiz admitted. Then let's find out. What did you love before Instagram? Reading. I used to read constantly. Fiction mostly. I loved getting lost in other people's stories. When's the last time you read a book? Adiz thought about it. 2 years ago? Maybe 3. What stopped you? I didn't have time. I was always creating content, engaging with followers, attending events. You had time. You chose not to use it for reading. Because reading doesn't build a brand. Exactly. So you traded something you loved for something that made you visible. Min-jae looked at her. Not at her face, she realized, but at her posture, her hands, her energy. What else did you trade? I used to cook. Nigerian food mostly. My grandmother taught me. I loved it. The smell, the ritual, the way food brought people together. Do you cook now? I post aesthetic food photos from restaurants. Not the same thing. Not the same thing, she agreed quietly. What else? I had friends. Real ones. Not influencer friends who are actually competitors. Just people who knew me. Who I could be quiet with. What happened to them? I got too busy. Or they got tired of me always being on. Or we just drifted. She pulled her knees to her chest. Now I have 5 million followers and no one to call when I'm sad. That's the loneliest thing I've ever heard. Welcome to influencer life. They sat in silence for a moment. Adiz, Min-jae said carefully, what would you do if Instagram disappeared tomorrow? Have a panic attack. And after that? She thought about it seriously. I don't know. I'd have to figure out who I am without it. Maybe that's what you need to do anyway. Are you saying I should quit Instagram? I'm saying maybe you should exist somewhere other than Instagram. Build a life that's yours, not content. But my brand. Your brand will be fine. What about you? Adiz felt something crack open in her chest. I don't know if there's a me separate from the brand anymore. Then let's find her. Min-jae stood and offered his hand. Come on. Where are we going? To do something you haven't done in years. What? Exist without documenting it. They went to a bookshop. A tiny, cramped place in Insadong filled with books in Korean and English, the smell of old paper and possibility. Min-jae handed Adiz a basket. Fill it with books you want to read. Not books that look good on a shelf. Books you actually want to read. Won't someone recognize me? You're wearing a baseball cap and no makeup. Trust me, you're invisible right now. So Adiz wandered through the stacks, pulling books that called to her. Fiction she'd been meaning to read. Poetry that looked interesting. A cookbook of Nigerian recipes. She filled the basket and Min-jae bought them all without asking. Consider it an investment in the real Adiz, he said. Then they went to a market. Min-jae watched as Adiz examined vegetables and spices, her face lighting up as she recognized ingredients from her grandmother's kitchen. I could make pepper soup, she said almost to herself. Oh. And jollof rice. Real jollof rice, not the restaurant kind. So make it. When? Tonight. I'll help. You don't know how to cook Nigerian food. Then teach me. Adiz looked at him. This man who couldn't remember her face but was helping her remember herself, and felt something shift in her chest. "Okay," she said. "Let's cook." Min Jae's apartment above the gallery was small and minimalist. Clean lines, lots of white space, walls covered in photographs. Adiz noticed he'd labeled everything. Cabinet doors had small tags. Plates, cups, glasses. The bathroom had labels. Toothbrush, towels. His closet was color-coded. "It helps me navigate," Min Jae explained when he saw her noticing. "I can't remember where things are just by seeing them once, so I create systems." "That must be exhausting." "It's life. You adapt or you struggle." "I chose to adapt." In the kitchen, Adiz took over. She chopped vegetables with practiced ease, her hands remembering movements her brain had forgotten she knew. She heated palm oil, added onions and tomatoes, built flavors the way her grandmother had taught her. Min Jae assisted, following her instructions, and they worked together in comfortable silence punctuated by occasional laughter when he chopped something wrong or added too much pepper. "Taste this," Adiz said, holding up a spoon of stew. Min Jae tasted it. His eyes widened. "That's incredible. My grandmother's recipe. She said food is how we remember who we are." Smart woman. They ate at his small kitchen table, the spicy richness of pepper soup and jollof rice filling the apartment with the smell of home. Adiz realized she was smiling. Really smiling. Not her Instagram smile. Her real smile. "Thank you," she said quietly. "For what?" "For this. For reminding me that I'm more than content." Min Jae looked at her, and she knew he was memorizing this moment not with his eyes but with everything else. The sound of her voice. The way she moved. The feeling of the evening. "You're welcome," he said. "But Adiz, you did this. Not me. I just gave you permission to remember." That night, Adiz posted on Instagram for the first time in a week. But it was different. Instead of a perfect photo, she posted a blurry picture of her hands chopping vegetables. The lighting was bad. The composition was terrible. "At Adiz glows. Cooked my grandmother's pepper soup tonight for the first time in years. No filter, no aesthetic, just food and memories. Sometimes the best moments are the ones you don't perform. Nigeria." She posted it and closed the app without checking likes. Then she picked up one of the books Min Jae had bought her and read until she fell asleep on his couch. When she woke up at 3 a.m. disoriented, there was a blanket over her and a note on the coffee table. "You fell asleep reading. That's the most relaxed I've seen you. Sleep well." Adiz smiled and went back to sleep. For the first time in years, she didn't dream about follower counts or engagement rates. She just slept. The fourth session was when Min Jae finally showed her the photographs. "Are you ready?" he asked, laptop open on his desk. Adiz stood behind him, nervous. "I think so." He opened the folder. The first photo appeared. Adiz stared at it. It was her, but different. Softer. The image was black and white, shot during that first silent session. She was looking slightly off camera and her expression was peaceful. Vulnerable in a way she'd never allowed herself to be on Instagram. "I look." She searched for words. "I look real." "You are real. I just captured it." He clicked through more photos. Her face angry, defiant, challenging him. Her face sad, small, remembering invisibility. Her face laughing at something he'd said while cooking. Her face concentrated, chopping vegetables. Her face asleep on his couch, completely unguarded. In every photo she looked like a stranger. A beautiful stranger. A real stranger. "These are..." Adiz felt tears sliding down her cheeks. "These are the most beautiful photos anyone's ever taken of me. Because you're not performing in them. But I look so... exposed. Vulnerability isn't weakness. It's truth." Min Jae turned to face her. "This is who you are when you stop trying to be seen. This is Adiz Okafor. Not the brand. The person." Adiz wiped her eyes. "What are you going to do with them?" "That's up to you. They're yours." "What do you mean?" "I took them, but they're your images. Your truth. You decide what happens to them." He gestured at the screen. "You could post them. You could keep them private. You could burn them. Your choice." Adiz looked at the photos again. At the woman who looked like her but wasn't the version of herself she'd been selling for 5 years. "Can I ask you something?" she said quietly. "Anything. Why are you helping me? You don't know me." You couldn't even remember my face the first few times we met. Why do you care what happens to me? Min-jae was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was careful. Because I see people all the time who are trapped by how they look. My whole career is photographing faces. And you're the first person I've met who's as imprisoned by faces as I am. That doesn't answer the question. Doesn't it? He looked at her, and even though she knew he couldn't remember her face, she felt seen in a way that had nothing to do with memory or recognition. Maybe I'm helping you because helping you helps me. Because if you can learn to exist without performing, maybe I can learn that faces don't matter as much as I think they do. Do they matter to you? Faces. Every day. Because I can't remember them. So I'm constantly trying, constantly failing, constantly reminded that I'm missing something everyone else has. But you don't need to remember faces to see people. That's what I'm learning. He smiled slightly. You're teaching me that. I'm not teaching you anything. I'm a mess who forgot how to be human. You're remembering. That's what matters. Adiz looked at the photographs again. At her own face, unguarded and true. I want to do something crazy, she said. How crazy? I want to disappear. At Adiz glows. I'm taking a break from social media. Not sure for how long. I need to remember who I am when no one's watching. Thank you for understanding. See you all when I find her. Yellow heart. Posted and then, silence. The internet exploded. What happened to Adiz? Is she okay? Did something happen in Seoul? This is so sudden. Is this because of that photographer guy? I'm actually worried about her. Her phone rang constantly. Temi, brand representatives, fellow influencers, even her mother calling from Nigeria. Adiz turned it all off. For the first time in 5 years she went silent. The first week was terrifying. Adiz woke up every morning reaching for her phone to check notifications. Her fingers would hover over the Instagram app before she remembered. She wasn't doing this anymore. Not forever. Just for now. She filled her days differently. Reading the books Min-jae had bought her. Cooking Nigerian food in her hotel kitchenette. Walking through Seoul without documenting it. Sitting in cafes just being instead of creating content. It felt like learning to breathe again after years of holding her breath. Min-jae checked in daily. Not with texts or calls but in person. He'd show up at her hotel with coffee or books or just an invitation to walk through a new neighborhood. How's the silence? He asked one afternoon as they sat in a park. Deafening. Also liberating. Also terrifying. All at once. All at once. She pulled her knees to her chest. I keep wondering if I'm making a huge mistake. What if brands drop me? What if I lose all my followers? What if I become invisible again? Would that be so bad? Yes. No. I don't know. She laughed shakily. That's the problem. I don't know who I am without the visibility. Then this is the perfect time to find out. The second week was when things shifted. Adiz started writing. Not captions. Not content. Just writing. Journaling about her thoughts and feelings and the strange experience of existing without an audience. She wrote about her childhood invisibility. She wrote about discovering Instagram and finally feeling seen. She wrote about the pressure of maintaining a brand while losing herself in the process. She wrote about meeting Min-jae and realizing she'd traded authenticity for visibility. The words poured out. Unfiltered, unedited, raw. It felt like bleeding on paper. It felt like healing. The third week was when she finally understood. She was having dinner with Min-jae at a small restaurant in Yeonnam-dong. Nothing fancy, just good food and easy conversation. I figured something out, Adiz said suddenly. What's that? I spent my whole life being afraid of being invisible. But I didn't realize that there are different kinds of visibility. She set down her chopsticks. 5 million people could see my face but no one knew me. Now only a handful of people know me but I finally feel visible. Min-jae smiled. That's the distinction most people never make. Being known versus being seen. Exactly. I think. Adiz paused, gathering courage. I think I've been more seen in these 3 weeks with you than in 5 years of Instagram fame. Something flickered across Min-jae's face. Surprise maybe, or something deeper. Adiz, he said carefully, can I confess something? Of course. I'm falling for you. Her breath caught. What? I'm falling for you. And it's terrifying. Why terrifying? Because I still can't remember your face. Every time you leave, I forget what you look like. I recognize your voice, your laugh, the way you move, but your face. He looked frustrated. Every morning when you show up, it's like seeing you for the first time. Adiz felt tears pricking her eyes, but they weren't sad tears. Min-jae, she said softly, that's the most romantic thing anyone's ever said to me. Is it? Feels like a limitation. A failure. It's perfect. She reached across the table and took his hand. Because you fall for me over and over again. Not because of how I look, but because of who I am. Every day you choose me not because you remember my face, but because you remember my soul. Min-jae stared at their joined hands. I never thought about it that way. You can't see faces, so you learn to see people. And that's why. She took a breath. That's why I'm falling for you too. He looked up sharply. You are. I am. Because you're the first person in years who's looked at me and not seen what they expected to see. You don't see the brand or the influencer or the perfectly curated image. You just see me. The messy, uncertain, still figuring of me. I like that version of you. I'm learning to like her too. They sat in comfortable silence, hands still joined across the table. So what happens now? Min-jae asked. I don't know. But I think. Adiz smiled. I think we figure it out together. That night, Min-jae walked her back to her hotel. They stood in front of the entrance, neither wanting to say goodbye. Can I try something? Adiz asked. What? Close your eyes. Min-jae closed his eyes. Adiz reached up and very gently traced his face with her fingertips. His forehead, his cheekbones, his jaw, his lips. What are you doing? He murmured. Giving you something to remember me by. Since you can't remember faces, maybe you can remember this. She kissed him. It was soft and searching and real. No cameras, no audience, no performance. Just two people who'd found each other in the strangest way, learning what it meant to be seen beyond sight. When they broke apart, Min-jae kept his eyes closed. I'll remember that, he whispered. Good. Adiz smiled. Come upstairs with me. His eyes opened. Are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. Min-jae's hands shook as they entered her hotel suite. Are you nervous? Adiz asked softly. Yes. I've never. He stopped. I mean, I have, but not with someone Not with someone you care about. Yes. Adiz took his hand and led him to the bed. They sat facing each other. Min-jae, she said gently, I need you to understand something. I'm not performing right now. This is just us. Just real. I know. And you won't remember what I look like tomorrow. No. But I'll remember how you feel. How you sound. How this moment feels. He cupped her face with both hands, memorizing her through touch. That's better than remembering faces. They undressed each other slowly, carefully, neither rushing. Adiz felt exposed in a way that had nothing to do with nakedness. This wasn't content. This wasn't curated. This was her, all of her, unfiltered and real, being offered to someone who would forget her face but remember her soul. Tell me what you want, Min-jae whispered against her skin. Just you. No cameras, no performance, just this. They made love slowly, learning each other through touch and sound and feeling. Min-jae whispered her name like a prayer. Adiz, 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 anchoring himself through sound since he couldn't anchor through sight. Say it again, she breathed. Adiz. Again. Adiz. 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 Each repetition felt like a claiming, a knowing, a seeing that went deeper than vision. Afterwards, tangled in sheets and each other, Adiz traced patterns on his chest. What are you doing? Min-jae asked sleepily. Giving you something to remember. I don't need it. I know you now. He pressed his lips to her forehead. Your voice, your laugh, your terrible habit of overthinking everything. Hey. Your passion, your vulnerability, the way you challenge me. He tilted her chin up. I know you. Face is irrelevant. Adiz felt tears slide down her cheeks. I spent 5 years trying to make people remember my face. And the person who can't remember faces is the one who knows me best. Ironic, isn't it? Perfect, actually. They fell asleep like that, wrapped in each other, and for the first time in years, Adiz didn't dream about follower counts or engagement rates. She just felt. 2 months later. The gallery was packed. Min-jae's new exhibition, Seen/Unseen, was getting international attention. Art critics from Tokyo, New York, London, collectors, photographers, celebrities, and somewhere in the crowd wearing a simple black dress, no makeup, hair natural, was Adiz. Anonymous. She stood in front of the central piece, a large black and white portrait that made people stop and stare. It was her. The placard read, "Subject unknown" / the moment she remembered herself. The photo showed her face mid-laugh, completely unguarded, joy radiating from every feature. It had been taken during that first cooking session, when she'd forgotten to perform and remembered how to live. People gathered around it, discussing. Look at her face. Such genuine emotion. She looks like she's experiencing freedom. I wonder who she is. Does it matter? It's the feeling that matters. Adiz felt tears sliding down her cheeks. Strangers were seeing her, the real her, and finding her beautiful. Not because they knew her name or her follower count or her brand. Just because of her. Beautiful, isn't it? She turned. Min Jae stood beside her, hands in pockets, studying the portrait. You came, he said, smiling. It's your exhibition. Of course I came. Incognito, though. I wanted to see how people reacted without knowing who I am. And they see me. Not the brand. Not the influencer. Just a human experiencing a human moment. Min Jae took her hand, threading their fingers together. That's because I photographed the truth, not the performance. Around them, the gallery buzzed with conversation. Critics praising his work. Collectors making offers. People taking photos of the photographs. Documenting art about documentation, which made Adiz smile at the irony. There's something I need to tell you, Min Jae said quietly. What? Someone recognized you. A journalist from Vogue Korea. She figured out that subject unknown is actually Adiz Okafor. Adiz's stomach dropped. What did you tell her? Nothing. But she's running a story tomorrow. The influencer who disappeared. Adiz Okafor's journey from performance to authenticity. So everyone will know. Everyone will know that the most visible woman on Instagram stepped away to find herself. And that when she did, she was more beautiful than any curated image ever showed. Adiz looked at the portrait again. At her own face, caught in a moment of pure, unfiltered joy. I'm not going back, she said suddenly. Min Jae looked at her. What? To Instagram. Not like before anyway. She turned to face him fully. I've spent 2 months remembering who I am. Building a life that's mine, not content. Reading, cooking, existing without documentation. And I'm happier than I've been in years. What about your followers? They'll survive. Or they won't. But I can't go back to performing every moment of my life just to feel like I exist. He squeezed his hand. You taught me that I matter whether anyone sees me or not. You taught me that too, Min Jae said softly. That faces don't matter as much as souls. That memory is more than visual. That love. He paused. That love is about knowing someone, not just recognizing them. Are you saying you love me? I've loved you since that first silent session when you stopped performing and just breathed. I've loved you every day since, falling for you new each morning because I can't remember yesterday's version. I love all your versions. Past, present, future. Adiz felt her heart expanding. I love you too. The you who sees without sight. The you who taught me that visibility isn't the same as being known. The you who helped me find myself. They kissed in front of her portrait, in front of art exploring visibility and identity, and Adiz realized. She'd spent years being seen by millions. But she'd needed to become invisible to one man to finally be known. 3 months later. At Adiz Glows, I'm back. But different. The last few months I disappeared from social media to remember who I am beyond the brand. I cooked my grandmother's recipes. I read books that challenged me. I walked through cities without documenting it. I fell in love with someone who can't remember my face but knows my soul. I learned that being seen by millions meant nothing if I didn't know myself. I learned that visibility and understanding are different things. I learned that the most beautiful version of yourself is the one you stop performing. I'm coming back to this platform, but on my terms. Less performing, more living. Less perfection, more truth. Some of you will hate it. Some of you will leave. That's okay. Because I finally know who I am when no one's watching. And that woman is worth more than 5 million followers.
Photo by @Kongmin_photography. The man who taught me to be seen beyond sight. Yellow heart. The photo attached was the one from the exhibition. Her face mid-laugh, completely unguarded, radiating joy. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't curated. It wasn't performance. It was real. The post went viral immediately. This is the most honest thing I've ever read from an influencer. She looks so free in that photo. Wait, who is Kong Min-jae? The man who can't remember faces? That's so romantic. I'm crying, this is beautiful. She unfollowed 600+ accounts and only follows 23 people now, including her photographer boyfriend. This is what authenticity looks like. Her follower count dropped to 3.8 million in the first week. He didn't care. The followers who stayed were present. They engaged deeply. They commented on her authenticity, not just her aesthetic. They sent messages saying her journey inspired them to step away from performance too. She'd lost numbers but gained connection. Fair trade. 6 months after the exhibition, Adiz and Min-jae stood in his apartment. Their apartment now, making dinner together. She chopped vegetables while he stirred soup, and they moved around each other with practiced ease, comfortable in their shared space and shared silence. I got an email today, Adiz said. From Vogue Nigeria. Oh. They want me to write a monthly column about authenticity in the influencer age. The real girl, or something like that. Are you going to do it? I think so. But no photos of me. Just writing. Just truth. That's perfect for you. She set down her knife and moved to stand behind him, wrapping her arms around his waist. Min-jae. Thank you. For what? For seeing me when I was invisible. He turned in her arms, and even though she knew he couldn't remember her face from morning to night, she felt more seen by him than she ever had by millions of followers. You were never invisible, he said softly. You were just looking for the wrong kind of visibility. And now you're known. That's better than seen. They kissed, surrounded by the smell of cooking food and the warmth of a life built on truth instead of performance. Adiz's phone buzzed on the counter. She glanced at it. A notification from Instagram. Her latest post. A blurry photo of their dinner prep with the caption, "Real life is messier and better than content," had just hit 1 million likes. She smiled and turned the phone face down. Not checking it? Min-jae asked. It'll be there later. Right now I'm here. Where? Right where I want to be. Living instead of documenting. They ate dinner at their small table, talking about their days, making plans for the weekend, existing in the quiet intimacy of two people who'd found each other by learning to see beyond sight. At Adiz glows. Teaching my husband to use Instagram. He still doesn't understand hashtags. Also, he can't remember what I look like but remembers every word I say. If that's not love, I don't know what is. Yellow heart piss. We're having a baby. Surprise. The photo showed their hands intertwined over her pregnant belly. 2.9 million likes. The comments section exploded. Wait, you got married? The face-blind photographer is your husband? This love story is everything. You're glowing for real now. Your authenticity journey changed my life. When's the book coming out? Min-jae read the comments over her shoulder. People really care about us. They care about the story. About being real. Should I post something? Do you want to? Not particularly. But I want our daughter to know her origin story someday. How do you know it's a girl? I don't. But I'm hoping. I want to raise someone who knows she matters beyond her face. Adiz leaned back against him, one hand on her belly, looking at her phone showing their messy, imperfect, real life. She'd lost 2 million followers. She'd found herself. She'd built a life that existed beyond documentation. And somehow that made all the difference. But the story wasn't over. Because 3 months into Adiz's pregnancy, a video surfaced. Old footage from her invisible period in Seoul. Walking through markets, cooking in Min-jae's apartment, being real when she thought no one was watching. Someone had been filming her the whole time. And the video was titled, "The Truth About Adiz Okafor, The Performance She Wants You to Believe." The video claimed her authenticity journey was just another brand strategy. That she'd planned the whole thing. That even her relationship with Min-jae was content. The video went viral overnight. 30 million views in 24 hours. And now everyone was asking, was any of it real? Or was authenticity just her newest performance? To be continued in part 2, the performance. Welcome back, besties. If your heart is full right now, that's exactly right. Because this is what love looks like when you strip away performance. When you learn that being known is more important than being seen. When the one person who can't remember your face becomes the person who knows your soul better than anyone. Adiz spent years being visible to millions but invisible to herself. Minjae spent years unable to remember faces but learning to see souls. Together they learned the most important lesson. You are not your image. You are not your brand. You are not your follower count. You are the person you are when no one's watching. And that person is who deserves to be loved. Drop a comment right now if this story made you think about your own relationship with social media. Drop a yellow heart if you believe in love that sees beyond sight. Drop a fire if you're ready to be real instead of perfect. And besties, if you're building your life for an audience instead of for yourself, maybe it's time to disappear for a little while. To remember who you are when no one's watching. Because that version of you, that's the one worth knowing. This is Afro-K Dark Diaries TV, and that was The Invisible Woman. Like this video if you felt every word. Subscribe for more stories that remind you what real love looks like. Share this with someone who needs to hear that they matter even when they're not performing. Until next time, besties, remember, the greatest gift is being truly known, not just widely seen. Now go live a life worth more than likes.